They used to believe sad music simply amplified negative emotions, but neuroscience reveals it actually activates your brain's reward system. Today we uncover how musical expectations and the prolactin effect create comfort in shared experience. You will learn about mirror neurons and empathy, physiological changes during catharsis through melancholy, and why cultural differences affect how we find beauty in sadness while regulating our mood. Why does music that sounds so sad actually make us feel good? This emotional paradox has puzzled listeners for centuries. People across cultures report seeking out melancholic melodies during difficult times. Think about listening to heartbreak songs after a relationship ends. The music resonates with our pain, yet instead of deepening our sorrow, it often brings a strange sense of comfort and even happiness. This experience directly contradicts our basic intuition about emotions, which suggests that sad stimuli should make us feel worse. Scientists have explored this fascinating contradiction. Research in the field of music psychology in the late 20th century began to provide clues. One prominent theory suggests that sad music acts as a sort of emotional simulator. It allows us to experience and process feelings of sadness in a safe, controlled environment, free from real-world consequences. This is like a flight simulator for the heart, letting us navigate complex emotions without any actual danger. The brain recognizes this safety, which can lead to a positive feeling. Another compelling idea involves the brain's chemistry. Studies using brain scans have shown that listening to emotionally moving music, including sad pieces, can trigger the release of dopamine. This is the same neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. A key study published in the year 2019 by neuroscientist Valory Salimpour demonstrated this effect. So while the themes of the music are sorrowful, our brain's internal pharmacy may be rewarding us with a genuine feeling of well-being. The combination of emotional release and a neurochemical reward creates a powerful, uplifting experience from a seemingly sad source. This neurochemical response naturally leads us to wonder how our brains are wired to translate musical patterns into such profound emotional experiences. The human brain processes music through an intricate network that triggers genuine emotional responses. Neuroscientists discovered that when we hear music, our mirror neurons system activates, as if we were performing the actions creating those sounds. This neural mirroring helps explain emotional contagion in music, where listeners unconsciously mimic the emotional expression they perceive. It is like catching a feeling from someone's voice, but through musical patterns instead of speech. Research by neuroscientist Robert Zator at McGill University revealed how music directly engages the brain's reward system. In a landmark study published in 2008, his team found that listening to emotionally powerful music triggers dopamine release in the nucleus accumbens. This neural mechanism is identical to how the brain responds to other pleasurable experiences like eating or social bonding. The research demonstrated that peak emotional moments in music cause actual physiological changes that generate pleasure. Our brain processes musical structure and emotional content through somewhat separate pathways. The auditory cortex analyzes technical components like melody and rhythm, while deeper limbic structures interpret the emotional meaning. This dual processing allows people to recognize sad musical qualities while simultaneously experiencing positive feelings. The brain can appreciate artistic expression without requiring the music to match one's current emotional state. Scientists believe this emotional complexity explains why people consistently choose sad music when feeling down. The brain recognizes the emotional authenticity in melancholic patterns, while the reward system provides comfort through dopamine release. This creates a sophisticated emotional experience where recognition of sadness and feeling of pleasure coexist, helping listeners process their own emotions through musical expression. But what if this emotional processing serves a deeper purpose, one that connects us in ways we are only beginning to understand? The comfort of shared experience. Why does listening to a heartbreaking ballad sometimes leave us feeling uplifted? A key reason lies in the profound sense of connection this music provides. Psychologist Annemiek van den Tol explored this phenomenon in her research. She introduced the concept of social surrogacy, where sad music acts as a substitute for human companionship. It is like having an invisible friend who completely understands your pain without needing an explanation. This surrogate connection makes people feel significantly less isolated in their emotional experiences. Hearing a singer express sorrow or longing can create a powerful feeling of shared understanding. You might be sitting alone in your room, but the music makes it feel as if someone else has gone through the exact same thing. This experience is incredibly validating. The lyrics often articulate feelings we struggle to name ourselves. When a song describes the ache of a lost love or the weight of disappointment, it gives form to our own hidden emotions. It is a confirmation that we are not alone in our struggles. Van den Tol's work, published around 2025, helps explain this counterintuitive comfort. Her studies suggest that people frequently choose sad music not to deepen their misery, but to feel a sense of belonging. The music becomes a safe space to process complex feelings. It is an emotional mirror that reflects our inner world back to us, making our personal sadness feel part of a larger, shared human condition. This connection, forged through melody and verse, is a powerful source of solace and even happiness. This universal human experience finds its roots in ancient wisdom, where the deliberate engagement with sorrow was first understood as transformative. Aristotle first explored catharsis in ancient Greece, proposing that tragic plays purge audiences of pity and fear through emotional release. This concept translates powerfully to music. Listening to sorrowful melodies creates a safe container for our own difficult feelings. It is like a controlled burn in a forest, deliberately setting a small fire to prevent a catastrophic wildfire later. We engage with musical sadness voluntarily, allowing us to process grief, longing, or heartache from a position of safety, ultimately leaving us feeling cleansed and lighter. Modern science provides a biological explanation for this phenomenon. Researcher David Huron from Ohio State University suggests a key role for the hormone prolactin. In real-life sadness, our bodies release prolactin as a comforting, consoling agent. Huron's theory, developed over the past 2 decades, posits that sad music tricks the brain into a preparatory state for genuine grief. The brain anticipates real tears and releases prolactin. But since the sadness is aesthetic and not based on a personal catastrophe, the comforting hormone arrives without the actual pain. We receive the chemical solace without the devastating cause. Crucially, the sadness in music is profoundly different from real-world sorrow. Real sadness is often chaotic, overwhelming, and directly tied to a personal loss. Musical sadness, however, is a beautifully structured simulation. It possesses a predictable arc, a resonant melody, and often a resolution. This framework gives us a sense of mastery over the emotion. We are not drowning in the feeling but observing and navigating it. This emotional sandbox allows us to confront our own shadows, practice empathy, and emerge with a surprising sense of peace and even happiness, having safely visited the depths and returned unscathed. But how exactly does this transformation occur? Turning our confrontation with melancholy into something unexpectedly beautiful, the beauty in sadness reveals a fascinating psychological paradox where aesthetic appreciation transforms negative emotions into a positive experience. This phenomenon, often described as sweet sorrow, allows listeners to engage with sadness from a safe distance. It is similar to watching a dramatic movie. One feels the character's pain without experiencing the actual life consequences. Researchers believe this process involves a cognitive shift where the brain recognizes the artistic frame, separating the emotion from direct personal threat. Studies from the field of empirical aesthetics provide insight into why people find sad art beautiful. Psychologist Paul Sylvia published influential work in 2017 suggesting that feelings of interest and confusion can coexist with sadness when encountering art. This emotional complexity is inherently rewarding. Another key study from 2023, conducted by a team including Thomas Ierola, found that people often experience feelings of peace and wonder when listening to sad music, not just despair. The beauty is found in the music's ability to convey profound human truths. The experience is also analogous to reading a tragic novel. One might weep for a fictional character, yet the overall experience feels enriching and meaningful. Neuroscientific observations confirm that beautiful sad music activates brain regions linked to pleasure and reward, alongside those processing emotion. This neural coupling suggests that the mind can find a strange comfort in melancholic beauty, appreciating the depths of feeling it evokes without being overwhelmed by it. The sorrow becomes an object of contemplation, not a source of distress. This neural coupling between pleasure and melancholy naturally leads us to explore the specific brain mechanism responsible for this rewarding experience. Listening to sad music creates a fascinating paradox in the brain, where feelings of sorrow somehow translate into a genuine sense of pleasure. This emotional alchemy is largely driven by the brain's reward system, a complex network that releases the neurotransmitter dopamine. Dopamine is the same chemical associated with the enjoyment of food, social interaction, and other rewarding experiences. Research shows that melancholic melodies can trigger a powerful dopamine release, effectively making a person feel good even when the music itself evokes sadness. Key insights come from groundbreaking studies conducted by neuroscientist Valori Salimpour and her team around 2020. Using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or FOI, scientists observed the brains of people as they listened to emotionally charged music. The scans revealed a significant dopamine surge during moments participants found most pleasurable, which often coincided with the emotional peaks in sad songs. This provided concrete evidence that our brains process musical emotion as a tangible reward, similar to other primary incentives. A central theory explaining this phenomenon involves the contrast between our expected emotional response and the actual one. We intellectually understand that a piece of music is sad, yet we are safely detached from any real-life cause for that sadness. This safe distance allows the brain to interpret the complex emotion as a profound and interesting experience rather than a direct threat. The resulting psychological relief can itself be rewarding, creating a positive feeling from a negative stimulus. Furthermore, the very structure of music contributes to this effect. Composers often build tension through dissonant chords or rising melodic lines, creating a sense of anticipation and unease. The subsequent resolution, when the harmony returns to a stable and pleasant chord, provides a powerful sense of release. This cycle of tension and resolution is a fundamental source of musical pleasure. It is like a mini emotional journey where the difficult passage makes the final resolution feel even more satisfying, directly tickling the brain's reward pathways and turning a somber tune into a source of happiness. This neural reward response finds its counterpart in another remarkable brain mechanism that helps explain why music resonates so deeply within us. Mirror neurons provide a fascinating explanation for our emotional connection to music. Discovered in the 1990s, these specialized brain cells activate both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing that same action. Neuroscientist Marco Acaboni's research in the 2010s demonstrated how this neural mirroring extends beyond physical movements into the realm of emotions. His work showed that our brains simulate the internal states of others, creating a shared emotional experience. This mechanism is directly applicable to how we process music. When we listen to a sorrowful melody, our mirror neuron system helps us internally mimic the emotional expression we perceive. It is as if our brain is trying on the feeling of sadness conveyed by the composer or performer. We do not just hear the music, we feel a resonance with its emotional core. This simulation allows us to understand and connect with the music on a deeply personal level, even if the emotion itself is somber. A helpful analogy is the feeling of warmth you might experience when watching a heartfelt hug between two people. You are not physically being embraced, yet your brain's mirroring mechanism allows you to partially simulate the comfort and affection of that moment. Similarly, listening to sad music does not typically make us feel cold or detached. Instead, we simulate the emotional warmth and catharsis within the sadness, which can paradoxically lead to a feeling of comfort and happiness. This process allows us to safely explore complex emotions, finding pleasure and connection in shared human expression. This emotional mirroring process raises the question of what biological mechanisms might enable such paradoxical comfort, leading researchers to explore the underlying chemistry of our responses. David Huron, a prominent music researcher from Ohio State University, proposed a compelling theory in the early 2010s about why sad music can paradoxically make us feel good. His hypothesis centers on a hormone called prolactin, which is most commonly known for its role in milk production, but also plays a crucial part in our emotional chemistry. The theory suggests that our bodies have a built-in consolation system. When we experience real-life sadness, our brain triggers the release of prolactin. Think of this hormone as a comforting, internal blanket. Its purpose is to soothe psychic pain and help us cope with loss or grief, providing a tangible feeling of comfort and consolation. The key distinction lies in the source of the sadness. Real, traumatic events cause genuine distress, and the prolactin is released as a chemical response to that authentic pain. However, when we listen to melancholic music, the brain is tricked in a fascinating way. The music simulates the emotional state of sadness without presenting any actual danger or personal loss to the listener. It is a safe form of sorrow. Consequently, the brain still prepares for the expected emotional turmoil and initiates the release of prolactin as a preemptive comfort measure. Yet, because the sadness is not real, there is no profound psychological wound for the hormone to treat. This creates a unique and pleasant emotional state. The listener experiences the warm, comforting effects of the prolactin, the internal blanket, without the accompanying weight of genuine despair. It is akin to receiving a comforting hug when you do not actually need one. The gesture itself feels pleasant and reassuring. This biochemical mechanism explains why a piece of sad music can leave us feeling moved, comforted, and even uplifted. The brain's compassionate response to perceived emotion provides the reward, turning a simulated tearful experience into a positively charged and satisfying one. But this internal comfort manifests outwardly in tangible ways, revealing how deeply our bodies resonate with these emotional journeys. When you listen to emotionally powerful, sad music, your body often reacts in surprising ways. You might experience goosebumps or a shiver down your spine, a phenomenon scientists actively study. These physical chills are not just random, they are measurable physiological responses to the music's emotional pull. Researchers have found that specific musical features, like an unexpected harmony or a soaring vocal entry, can trigger these sensations. It is your body's visceral reaction to being deeply moved. Scientific investigations have delved deeper into these bodily changes by monitoring heart rate and breathing. A study from 2023, led by researchers at the University of Florida, observed that during intensely sad musical passages, a listener's heart rate variability often increases. This indicates a shift in the autonomic nervous system towards a more relaxed and receptive state, similar to the feeling of relief after a good cry. Your breathing pattern may also synchronize with the music's slow tempo, promoting a calming effect. Why would such physical reactions feel pleasant? The sensation of chills is linked to a release of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, in the anticipation and peak emotional moments of a song. This creates a positive feedback loop where the body's response is inherently rewarding. Furthermore, studies measuring skin conductance, which track subtle sweat changes related to emotional arousal, confirm this. Work by neuroscientist Robert Zatoir and his team in 2019 used this method to show that high arousal, sad music produces strong skin conductance responses, correlating directly with feelings of pleasure and emotional peak. The physical shiver is, in essence, a badge of profound emotional engagement. Yet this profound engagement often arises not from predictable patterns, but from their deliberate disruption. Imagine a film scene where a character slowly opens a creaking door. The audience holds its breath, anticipating a jump scare. That exact feeling of delicious tension is what music masters through its very structure. Our brains are prediction machines, constantly guessing what comes next in a melody. When composers play with these expectations, they take us on a profound emotional journey. The foundational theory explaining this phenomenon comes from the music philosopher Leonard Meyer in the mid-20th century. His work suggests that emotion in music arises not from the notes themselves, but from the outcome of our expectations. We develop a subconscious sense of where a musical phrase should naturally resolve, based on patterns we have learned throughout our lives. When the resolution arrives immediately, we feel satisfaction, but when it is cleverly delayed or diverted, something magical happens. This is the power of the delayed resolution. A composer sets up a musical question, creating a sense of yearning or incompleteness. Then, instead of answering it, they introduce surprising harmonies or extend the phrase. This is like a storyteller stretching a moment of suspense to its absolute limit before the final reveal. The longer the resolution is postponed, the greater the emotional payoff when it finally arrives. In sad music, these surprises and delays can create a complex, bittersweet ache that paradoxically feels satisfying and even uplifting to experience, a cathartic release of built-up tension. Because these emotional responses to musical tension are so deeply personal, they inevitably draw upon the unique reservoir of our own lives. Our personal history acts as an invisible filter for every song we hear. Individual experiences profoundly shape musical responses, creating a unique emotional fingerprint for each listener. A melody that brings one person joy might evoke sadness in another, all based on their life story. This connection is deeply rooted in autobiographical memory, the mental diary of our own lives. When we hear a song linked to a powerful personal event, the brain reactivates the original emotions. It is like a key unlocking a specific memory vault. Research helps explain why certain songs trigger such vivid recollections. Scientists believe music serves as a potent retrieval cue for memories. A study from the University of California published in 2019 demonstrated this phenomenon. The researchers found that music strongly activates the medial prefrontal cortex, a brain region central to memory and emotion. This area is one of the last to atrophy in Alzheimer's disease, which may explain why patients often remember songs from their youth. The specific combination of melody, rhythm, and lyrics gets tightly woven into the fabric of our past experiences. This process often leads to nostalgia, a bittersweet emotion that paradoxically enhances musical enjoyment. Hearing a song from a specific time, like one's high school years, can instantly transport a person back. They might relive the feeling of a first car or a summer friendship. This nostalgic trip is not merely about remembering. Psychologists have found that nostalgia increases feelings of social connectedness and meaning. Therefore, the sadness within the music is filtered through a positive lens of personal significance. The result is a complex, uplifting happiness born from our own life narrative, making sad music a deeply personal and often joyful experience. Given that our personal narratives shape these emotional responses, researchers began exploring whether these patterns hold true across different cultural backgrounds. Cultural differences significantly shape how people experience sad music. Research by music psychologist Tumas Irola reveals that while sadness is a universal emotion, its musical triggers are not. His cross-cultural studies conducted over the past 15 years show distinct patterns between Western and Eastern listeners. Western cultures, for example, often associate minor keys and slow tempos with sadness, using this music for emotional catharsis. People might listen to a melancholic blues song or a somber classical adagio to process difficult feelings, finding comfort in shared sorrow. In contrast, many Eastern traditions, such as in Japan, perceive a different aesthetic in sad music. Here, a concept like mono no aware gentle sadness for the impermanence of things is often celebrated. The music might evoke a bittersweet appreciation for life's fleeting beauty rather than a need for emotional purging. A piece for the shakuhachi flute, for instance, can sound melancholic yet deeply peaceful. This is not about wallowing but about contemplative acceptance. Examples from other regions further illustrate this diversity. Portuguese fado music is steeped in saudade, a profound feeling of nostalgic longing. In Russia, deeply sorrowful folk songs are seen as a testament to national endurance. Meanwhile, certain West African traditions use rhythms and melodies that might sound sad to outsiders but are integral to community rituals and storytelling. These global variations demonstrate that the path from sad music to happiness is wonderfully culture-specific, influenced by deeply ingrained philosophical and social values. But what if these cultural pathways to emotional transformation could be harnessed deliberately? As a form of healing, music serves as powerful emotional medicine in therapeutic settings. Clinicians regularly use melancholic melodies to help patients process complex feelings. One study from 2023 demonstrated that listening to sad music can elevate mood and increase empathy. Music therapists guide individuals through carefully selected playlists to facilitate emotional release. This process allows people to safely explore their sadness without becoming overwhelmed by it. The mechanism works through what scientists call emotional catharsis. When someone listens to sorrowful music, their brain mirrors the expressed emotions. Researchers found this creates a controlled environment for confronting grief. It is like practicing sadness in a safe space before facing real losses. Music provides a container for emotions that might otherwise feel too large to handle. Neurological scans show this activity helps reorganize traumatic memories. Specific techniques show remarkable results in clinical practice. One method involves lyric analysis where patients discuss song meanings. Another approach uses improvisational music making to express unspoken pain. Studies from 2029 revealed that group music therapy significantly reduced depression symptoms. Patients reported feeling understood through shared musical experiences. The music becomes a bridge connecting their inner world to external support. For anxiety management, research confirms music's calming effects. A 2025 meta-analysis of 35 studies showed consistent stress reduction. Slow, minor key music particularly helps regulate breathing and heart rate. Therapists might use Samuel Barber's Adagio for strings or Arvo Päre's compositions. These pieces create space for reflection and emotional processing. The music does not erase pain but transforms the relationship to it. Clinical applications continue expanding as evidence grows. Hospitals now integrate music therapy into cancer treatment and palliative care. The practice helps patients process existential questions and find meaning. While not replacing traditional treatments, music offers a unique pathway to healing. It turns the paradox of joyful sadness into therapeutic advantage, helping people move through emotional blocks toward greater well-being. This powerful connection between music and emotional processing naturally raises the question of how we can apply this understanding in our own daily lives. Researchers find that consciously choosing when to listen to melancholic music is key to emotional regulation. One should use it as a tool for processing, not for amplifying distress. The ideal time is during a calm moment when one can truly focus, not during a crisis. This intentional listening creates a safe container for difficult feelings, allowing them to be felt and released. It is like giving sadness a specific time and space to exist, so it does not spill over into the entire day. A crucial distinction lies between healthy processing and unhelpful rumination. Healthy processing involves acknowledging sadness through music and then moving forward, feeling lighter. Rumination, however, is like getting stuck in a mental loop, where the music only deepens a negative spiral. The difference is in the outcome. Does the music help you understand your feelings, or does it make you feel more trapped by them? Scientists believe this process helps the brain metabolize complex emotions. Creating a therapeutic playlist is a personal and active process. Start by selecting songs that resonate with your current emotional state. Then intentionally sequence them. Begin with tracks that match your sadness. Then gradually transition to more neutral or even slightly uplifting pieces. This musical journey can gently guide your mood. Include songs with meaningful lyrics or comforting melodies. The act of curating the playlist itself can be a powerful step toward emotional resolution, putting you in control of your auditory environment. But what if the most powerful emotional regulation comes not from avoiding sadness, but from deliberately embracing it? Why do humans consistently seek out music that evokes sadness? This profound paradox reveals fundamental truths about our emotional architecture. Scientists discovered that our brains process melancholic melodies through a fascinating biological dance. Listening to sad music triggers the release of both prolactin, a comforting hormone, and dopamine, the chemical of pleasure. This creates a unique neurochemical cocktail, a safe emotional storm where we experience deep feeling without real-world threat. It is like practicing heartbreak in a simulator, building our psychological resilience for actual life challenges. Evolutionary theory suggests this response provided a crucial survival advantage. For our ancient ancestors, developing a sophisticated emotional system was essential for social bonding and group cohesion. Shared musical experiences, even sorrowful ones, strengthened community ties and fostered empathy long before complex language existed. Researchers like John Sloboda have documented how music acts as a social surrogate, providing comfort akin to a friend's supportive presence. This explains why we feel profoundly understood and less alone when a haunting melody mirrors our inner state. The psychological functions are equally vital. Sad music serves as a powerful tool for catharsis, allowing us to purge pent-up emotions in a controlled environment. It helps us process complex feelings like grief and nostalgia, giving them a structure and a narrative. A study from Freie Universität Berlin in 2023 found that people often choose sad music to achieve consolation and meaningful reflection. This reveals a beautiful aspect of human nature, our intrinsic need to not just feel, but to understand our feelings. We are drawn to artistic sadness because it helps us make sense of our own, transforming pain into a shared, almost beautiful, human experience. This intricate relationship with sorrowful art underscores our deep-seated drive for emotional mastery and connection. This profound emotional processing through art finds its biological counterpart in our very neurochemistry. Embracing musical complexity reveals why sorrowful melodies paradoxically enhance our well-being. Research from the University of California in 2023 demonstrated that listening to sad music triggers the release of prolactin, a comforting hormone typically associated with consolation during distress. This neurochemical response creates a safe emotional space where listeners can process difficult feelings without real-world consequences. It functions like an emotional gymnasium, allowing us to strengthen our capacity for navigating life's inevitable challenges through controlled exposure to musical melancholy. The phenomenon extends beyond mere biology into psychological richness. Professor David Huron from Ohio State University proposes that our minds treat musical sadness as what he terms a false alarm, an emotional signal that doesn't require immediate action. This creates opportunity for what psychologists call meta-emotions, where we develop feelings about our own feelings. When we experience sadness through music, we simultaneously feel comfort, nostalgia, or even beauty about that very experience. This emotional layering creates a sophisticated internal landscape, far more nuanced than simple happiness or sadness. This emotional complexity carries profound value for our daily lives. Regular engagement with diverse musical emotions builds what researchers term emotional granularity, the ability to identify and articulate subtle differences in our emotional states. People who frequently listen to varied musical genres demonstrate greater emotional intelligence in social situations and show enhanced empathy in controlled studies. Rather than seeking constant cheerfulness, they develop what philosopher Martha Nussbaum calls emotional completeness, the capacity to experience the full spectrum of human feelings without being overwhelmed by any single one. The true magic emerges when we recognize music's transformative power. A composition that begins in melancholy might gradually introduce hopeful harmonies, mirroring how we navigate difficult periods in our own lives. This musical journey provides what researcher Tuomo Sierola describes as emotional alchemy, the process through which painful feelings are transmuted into something meaningful and even beautiful. By embracing musical complexity in all its forms, we don't just listen to music, we allow music to listen to us, to understand our unspoken emotions, and to help transform them into sources of strength and connection. But how can we actively harness this emotional alchemy in our daily lives? Creating your emotional playlist is like building a toolbox for your mind. Research shows that people instinctively use music to manage their feelings. A 2023 study by psychologists at the University of Queensland confirmed that sad music can actually evoke positive emotions, acting as a form of emotional catharsis. This is your guide to harnessing that power intentionally. Start by identifying your emotional goal. Do you need comfort, energy, or calm? Match the music's characteristics to that need. For a cathartic release, try Sam Smith's Stay With Me, where the slow tempo and melancholic melody provide a safe space for sadness. To shift from anxiety to focus, the steady, uplifting rhythms of Vivaldi's Four Seasons can act as an auditory anchor, guiding your mind away from worry. Scientists believe this works through brain synchronization. Upbeat music can elevate your heart rate and mood, while slower tempos promote relaxation. Think of it as a volume knob for your nervous system. Intentionally curate different playlists for specific purposes, one for processing difficult emotions and another for celebrating joy. The key is mindful listening. Pay attention to how each song makes you feel and adjust your playlist accordingly. This practice turns passive listening into an active strategy for emotional well-being, giving you a powerful and personal resource for navigating your inner world. But what happens when this powerful tool turns against us? When the very songs meant to heal begin to deepen the wounds they were meant to soothe? While sad music offers therapeutic benefits, researchers identify clear boundaries for its healthy use. Psychologists note music becomes problematic when listeners use it exclusively for emotional avoidance. A 2029 study by Sandra Garrido demonstrated that people with depression often select music reinforcing negative thought patterns. This creates an emotional echo chamber where melancholy lyrics amplify existing sadness rather than providing release. Warning signs of unhealthy music use include consistently choosing songs that deepen despair and prolonged isolation with headphones. When music becomes the only emotional outlet or listening sessions regularly exceed 2 hours without mood improvement, it may indicate problematic use. Studies show neural pathways strengthen through repeated exposure to sorrowful stimuli, potentially entrenching negative emotional states. For balanced emotional experiences, experts recommend alternating between different musical emotions throughout the day. Think of this as nutritional balance for your psyche, just as you wouldn't eat only sweet foods. You shouldn't consume only sad music. Schedule listening sessions rather than using music reactively during emotional lows. Researchers suggest the ideal ratio involves approximately 3 positive or neutral tracks for every 1 sad composition. Clinical observations confirm that musical sadness becomes counterproductive when it replaces human connection or prevents active problem solving. The healthiest approach uses melancholic music as temporary emotional companionship rather than permanent residence. By maintaining this awareness, listeners can harness music's comforting power without being overwhelmed by its emotional undertow. Our journey into why sad music makes us happy comes to an end. We explored how when sadness feels good, it connects to the science of musical emotions and the comfort of shared experience. Through catharsis and melancholy, we found beauty in sadness, observing the brain's reward system activation and the role of mirror neurons and empathy. We touched upon the prolactin effect, physiological changes, and how musical expectations and surprises, along with personal history and memories, shape our responses. Understanding cultural differences in response, we saw music as emotional medicine for regulating your mood, explaining why we need sad music and embracing musical complexity. Finally, we considered creating your emotional playlist and when music helps and hinders. If you found this material interesting, hit the like button. See you in the next episodes.